Bullies tore the new teacher's blouse in class. Her judo throw knocked them to the floor. You hear the rip before you see it. Cotton tearing a gasp in a silent classroom. 30 pairs of eyes freeze on the fallen fabric clutched at her chest. She doesn't scream. She doesn't beg. She only whispers, "You just made a mistake." 6 weeks of relentless humiliation have led to this one brutal moment. The instant privilege met its match. But is this the end of her story, or the beginning of something far more dangerous? Stay with me, because what you're about to witness will redefine justice in a world where strength is the last thing they ever expected. If you've ever felt powerless in the face of cruelty, smash that like button now. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss moments when justice flips the script. I want to hear your story. Drop a comment if you've ever stood up against the odds. Together, we're about to witness a single act of courage that shatters the rules and demands reckoning. She arrived before sunrise, the parking lot still damp with dew. Her Honda Civic, 15 years old, faded teal, sat wedged between a polished Tesla and a Range Rover. The engine ticked as it cooled, echoing the chill in her stomach. Maya Johnson smoothed the collar of her clearance rack blazer, the stitching already fraying, and took a steadying breath. Today, she becomes Miss Johnson's substitute history teacher at Westfield High, a fortress of privilege where college banners glowed like trophies and parking spots were worth more than her entire salary. Inside, the halls gleamed under LED lights. Marble floors reflected designer sneakers and cufflinks. Parents here donated millions, so when a door squeaked or a laptop died, the remedy was a phone call, not a pep talk. She passed portraits of alumni at Yale, Stanford, and Oxford, their caps and gowns framing faces that never looked back. This was a place built for winners, a stage for silver spoon legacies. Maya's pulse quickened as she climbed the stairs to room 213. Her tote bag held last night's ramen-stained notebook, 3 reams of handouts she printed at home, and a single photo in a worn envelope, her mother's smile taken before the accident. She'd fled a lifetime of headlines, Black Lives Matter protests, viral news footage of police brutality, and promised herself that teaching would be peaceful, that words, not fists, would shape her impact. The first class filed in. Junior football players with gold chains, debate team captains with tailored blazers, artists in hoodies scribbling yesterday's tweets. They scanned her 5 feet 4 inches, late 20s, sneakers cracked at the toes, then whispered. One kid laughed, new meat for the grinder. Another rolled his eyes as she booted up the projector. The beam flickered, casting her shadow long and thin across the whiteboard. She forced a smile, feeling her hands tremble as she adjusted the PowerPoint, titled The Battle of Gettysburg. The slide loaded sepia-toned soldiers in blue and gray. Maya's voice came soft at first. "Good morning. I'm Maya Johnson. Today we explore the turning point of the Civil War." Behind her, someone tapped a phone. She glanced sideways. Jordan Lee, back corner, typing furiously. She would need that later. The clock ticked. No alarms chimed. No assistant popped in. For 6 weeks, every malfunction, printer jams, spilled coffee, password resets at 5 a.m. was a test. But today, in the hush before the lesson, Maya felt something shift inside her, the residue of every taunt, every video clip cutting her down, every mercy apology she'd offered. She inhaled the scent of dry erase markers and polished wood, filling her lungs, grounding her. Outside the window, fall sunlight dripped through stained glass panes, golden and promising. Yet inside, the air crackled with tension she couldn't yet name. She set her notes on the desk, her heart settling into a rhythm she recognized, disciplined, controlled, unbreakable. Training at dawn when the world slept, and only her reflexes woke, had taught her to find calm in chaos. She squared her shoulders and flipped to the first slide. "Gettysburg," she said, voice clear now. The class leaned in. Behind their masks of disinterest, cameras hovered in pockets, ready to capture every misstep. But Maya Johnson was nobody's victim. Not here, not today. Because somewhere in these walls, privilege would meet resolve. And when that moment came, the world would see that strength wears many faces sometimes, in thrift store blazers, sometimes in midnight sweat under neon lights, and always in the eyes of someone who refuses to stay silent. Her first prank arrives on a Tuesday. She's just begun the slide on Pickett's charge when Liam Carter sweeps past elbow brushing against her lecture notes. Paper flakes flutter to the floor like dark confetti. He offers a mocking apology. "Oops, Ms. Johnson, guess I'm just clumsy." Then he smirks and walks out. She kneels to gather the scattered sheets, her fingers trembling as the class snickers. By Thursday, the classroom door clicks open before her bell. Her computer greets her with an unfamiliar login screen. She frowns, types her password. Access denied. 5 frantic attempts later, the system locks her out until administrator reset. The clock ticks. Students trickle in their phones, already recording the panic on her face. That Saturday, she returns to find her desk splattered with coffee stains, dark rings pooling around childhood photos she tucked into her lesson plan. The smell of burnt grounds lingers. She grabs cleaning wipes and scrubs until her knuckles ache. Each wipe smudges remembrance, her mother's graduation portrait, the Judo medal pinned to her badge. Monday morning, she tests her lesson on her phone before class Battle of Antietam Slide 1. It fails to load. Files corrupted. The USB she prepared vanished. She dials the IT office, no help forthcoming. Behind her, someone coughs Liam's trademark signal. The cough echoes like a starting gun. He's the ringleader, but not alone. A circle of juniors lacrosse players cheer. Captain serves as his entourage. They laugh when her PowerPoint stalls. Their laughter sharpens her skin. Yet she holds her composure. "Let's discuss Lee's strategy," she suggests, reclaiming the moment. Their laughter dials down to whispers. They're testing her limits, waiting for her to break. Over the next week, the pranks grow theatrical. On Wednesday, a phone rings mid-lecture. She hesitates, then silences it. As she turns back, she feels a tug, her blazer sleeve caught in a chair. She frees herself only to find a sticky note on her arm. "Dress better." The handwriting matches Liam's. Her pulse speeds. She glances at Jordan Lee in the corner, fingers flying across her phone. A single-word text flashes on Maya's screen recording. That afternoon, private group chats explode with clips of Maya answering a question incorrectly. Tiny text overlays read, "Scared Cat Day 23." She ignores the notifications, but her chest tightens each time her phone vibrates. The hallways whisper her nickname. Lockers slam as students pass. Every corner hides a new humiliation. Midweek, the sabotage escalates. Someone changes her classroom door code. She's locked inside with 30 students for 10 minutes until a janitor rescues her. Their classroom, normally a sanctuary of learning, feels like a cage. She stands, rigid hands clasped in front of her voice. Calm. "Let's use this time to review primary sources." The students shuffle uneasily. Not a single shout of support. By Friday, Maya's routine is ritualized resilience. She arrives at dawn to reroute her Wi-Fi reprint handouts at home, test every login. She retreats each evening to her apartment, reheating ramen and repeating a mantra her coach taught her, "Control the controllable." But inside, anger simmers like magma. Late one night, Jordan Lee meets her outside the school. "I have everything," Jordan whispers, phone screen reflecting rows of video thumbnails, spills, glitches, slights. 2 years of evidence on Liam. Maya's eyes narrow. This is the moment she's waited for, a dossier of cruelty, unmatched by any apology. But she waits. She lets the anger settle, forging it into resolve. In the days that follow, she studies the footage, analyzing patterns, how Liam always arrives at 8:07, how his friends position themselves at key angles for optimal recording, how he whispers insults under his breath when he thinks she's not listening. Each detail becomes a strategic advantage. She maps the timeline: Monday's coffee spill, Tuesday's login lockout, Thursday's sticky note. She rehearses her response in front of the bathroom mirror, voice firm, words precise. She buys a new tape recorder to capture every word he utters. She texts, "Jordan, plan is set. Tomorrow we end this." Throughout this escalation, the camera lingers on Maya's jaw, clenching her knuckles, whitening as she grips her tote bag. We hear her breath catch when she sees Liam surf into the room with that predatory grin. We see the flicker of recognition in his eyes. He knows she's no longer the easy target. Still, one question looms: how far will he push her before the breaking point? Because in a place built on entitlement and donations, the rules are stacked against her. And only a single misstep, only one tear of fabric will force the confrontation she's been planning in every restless night since her first stolen coffee. What happens when a predator realizes his prey has fangs? What happens when the hunted becomes the huntress? Stay close, because tomorrow everything changes. Maya sat at her kitchen table under the harsh glare of a single lamp, Jordan's dossier spread before her, like battlefield intel. Each time-stamped clip of Liam's cruelty, every spill, every password lockout, every whispered insult etched itself into her mind. This wasn't about revenge. It was about reclaiming a classroom stolen from her. It was about justice for every teacher he'd broken and every student he'd taught to fear authority. She traced her finger along a printed timeline. Monday, 8:07 a.m., Liam slips past the door elbow, jostling her stack of handouts. Wednesday, 10:23 a.m., coffee rings appear on her desk, dark as contempt. Thursday, 11:45 a.m., sticky note on her arm. Dress better. Friday, 2:17 p.m., door code changed. 30 minutes locked in. Maya closed her eyes and inhaled. She was no stranger to discipline. Years of judo taught her that preparation wins fights. Tonight, she would prepare like never before. She drafted a strategy in 5 parts: gather evidence in real time. She charged her new digital recorder and clipped it discreetly inside her blazer pocket. Every word Liam uttered, every mocking chuckle would be captured. Jordan agreed to live stream footage directly to a private cloud folder, unchoppable, time-stamped, invincible. Isolate the confrontation. She picked room 213 after school hours when the halls emptied, and only security cameras bore witness. No students to witness fear or confusion, only the unblinking eye of justice preserved on tape. Secure witness support. Jordan would pose as a student volunteer, slipping into the back row minutes before the showdown. Coach Ramirez had enlisted 2 faculty allies to stand by in the corridor, ready to validate Maya's account if the board questioned her self-defense. Weaponized the classroom, Maya rerouted the podium microphone to her recorder. She laid out a stack of prepared documents on her desk, a printed code of conduct copies of every harassment email sent to Principal Walters, and a single pristine judo GI folded white, the black belt coiled on top like a halo of resolve. Control the tempo. She would let Liam make the first move, brew the bait. His pattern was predictable. He thrived on spontaneous cruelty. This time he'd walk into his own trap. Her breath caught as she rehearsed the opening line in her mind. "Mr. Carter, you need to explain yourself." Short, firm, unyielding. No room for his usual smirk. For hours, she paced her apartment, pacing out the lecture stage on her hardwood floor. Her knuckles whitened as she visualized his entrance, Liam sauntering in at precisely 8:07 a.m., phone in hand, entourage in tow. She'd stand behind the desk recorder, humming at her chest voice, calm but ironclad. By midnight, she had packed her tote bag, backup handouts, extra batteries, her mother's graduation photo tucked safely inside. It was a talisman, a reminder of why she fought. Every humiliation he'd carved into her confidence would be erased by one decisive moment. At 5:00 a.m., the next morning, she went through her ritual. 15 minutes of deep breathing drills centering her mind. 10 push-ups to wake her muscles. A moment of silent gratitude to her coach and her mother's memory. Then she donned the Judo G-jacket over her blouse, an unspoken declaration this was no ordinary day. On the drive in, she felt the familiar hum of adrenaline, and with it, a clarity she hadn't known since quitting judo. The world slowed, every red light, every honk, every passing driver blurred behind her unwavering resolve. She arrived at Westfield High an hour early. The hallways lay empty. Echoing footsteps felt like drums pounding in time with her heartbeat. She slipped into room 213, checked the locks, and activated the recorder. The little red light winked at her recording. Jordan slipped in hand, raised in mock question, an inside nod. Maya offered a tight smile, then closed the door. Already she felt the weight of every late-night hour lift as purpose took its place. She arranged the files on her desk evidence packs on one side, the GI belt draped across the top. The microphone cable snaked toward her pocket. Behind her, golden afternoon light slanted through the windows, casting long shadows across the floor portents of the reckoning to come. Then, the moment she'd planned for lit up the corridor, the click-click of polished brogues. Liam stepped in with casual arrogance, phone already rolling. His gaze flicked to her GI jacket, curiosity dancing in his eyes. His entourage hovered at the door, smartphones poised. Maya inhaled, calibrated her tone to steel Mr. Carter. Before we start tomorrow's lesson, I need you to explain why you've spent the last 6 weeks sabotaging this class. Her words landed like stones on glass. Shock rippled across his face. This was the turning point, the hunter becoming the hunted. Every step from here on would unspool on camera the lies, the threats, and finally the undeniable proof that the privileged monster he thought he was would meet the full force of her resolve. Tomorrow the world would see that a single tier of fabric can tear through an entire facade. And when the recordings go live, no amount of family money or donor influence could silence the voice of justice. Liam strode in at exactly 8:07, phone in hand, grin already forming at the sight of Maya's GI jacket draped over her blazer. He cleared his throat theatrically loud enough for the hidden mic to catch. "Ms. Johnson," he drawled, "you look like you're auditioning for Karate Kid. What's next?" A roundhouse kick for tardiness. The click of Jordan's live stream began in the background. Maya remained seated behind her desk, hands resting on the black belt. Her recorder's red light pulsed steadily. "Mr. Carter, let's start with why you changed the door code on Friday," she said, voice calm, but resonant. "Explain to everyone watching why you locked 30 students in this room." Liam's smirk faltered. He scanned the empty classroom. No entourage today, just her and the camera's unblinking gaze. He shifted his weight, trying to reclaim control. "That was a mistake." He raised a hand, cut himself off. Jordan moved into view, phone pointed squarely at him. "Tell us why you deleted my lesson files." "Thursday," Maya pressed, voice steely. She recounted the time-stamped events, the access denied screens, the missing USB drive, the sticky note on her arm. Each accusation landed like a hammer on fragile entitlement. Liam opened his mouth, then hesitated. He tried a joke. "Maybe I was testing your classroom management skills." Laughter crackled from the hallway speakers. Jordan had looped the audio from his private group chat, mocking Maya. The room grew colder. Breathing, even Maya rose and walked to the lectern. "You see, Mr. Carter, this recorder captures everything. Every spill, every insult, every sabotage. And tonight your patterns become evidence." She tapped the recorder. The microphone inside her jacket picked up the click. He stepped forward. Phone raised. "You can't use that. Turn it off or I'll—" His voice cracked. Maya held up a folder labeled Westfield High Conduct Violations. She flipped it open, revealing printed email threads from teachers begging for help, all ignored by Principal Walters. Liam's jaw tightened. "Those are private," he stammered. "They're just public policy violation," Maya interrupted, voice crisp. "You knew the rules. You broke them." The camera zoomed in as she set the folder down and returned to her desk, sliding a tablet face up. It displayed Jordan's live stream chat, thousands watching in real-time, messages flooding in shock. A bead of sweat formed on Liam's temple. He reacted by tossing his phone onto her desk. "Fine," he spat. "But this isn't over." He lunged, seizing the lapel of her GI jacket. The fabric strained. In that instant, Maya's body remembered 5 years of muscle memory. She didn't scream. She didn't flinch. She drew him close hand, snapping to his arm, guiding his momentum. Her other hand gripped his collar. With a practiced pivot, she dropped her hips and executed a textbook Ogoshi hip throw. Liam flew through the air, limbs flailing, and landed with a thunderous smack that silenced the room. The recorder captured every gasp. Jordan's live stream captured every angle. Maya held his arm on the floor, kneeling near him, voice low. That's for every teacher you made cry. Then she released him, stepping back, gi jacket falling open to reveal her crisp blouse. Footsteps pounded in the corridor. Coach Ramirez and the 2 faculty allies arrived. The coach's booming voice carried, "I witnessed it all. Self-defense, minimum necessary force." Behind them, security guards filed in, radios crackling that the board had dispatched them after Jordan's live stream went viral. Liam scrambled up, clutching his elbow, eyes wide with disbelief. "You can't." Maya raised a hand. "State law is clear. Defending yourself against assault is illegal. These cameras will confirm it." She pointed to the ceiling-mounted lens, then to her recorder. The guards cuffed him gently and escorted him out. As the door clicked shut, Maya exhaled for the first time in weeks. The tension drained, leaving a ringing quiet. Jordan switched off the live-stream phone, still recording for archival evidence. Students filed back in faces, pale, phones lowered. Maya walked to the whiteboard and wrote one word: respect. Underneath, she sketched a gavel. She turned locking eyes with each of them. "Class, our lesson today isn't about battles lost or won. It's about knowing when to stand up for yourself and for others." In that moment, the power dynamic shifted irrevocably. The gentle power of discipline had shattered entitlement. And as Maya gathered her folders, the classroom no longer felt like a trap, but a stage for true learning where justice once withheld was finally delivered. The hallway erupted the moment the classroom door swung open. Phones glowed in every hand as students and faculty spilled into the corridor, drawn by the commotion. Word traveled faster than wildfire, Ms. Johnson, through Liam Carter. Yet as cameras captured the battered bully hobbling away and the calm, resolute teacher standing firm, the narrative flipped instantly. Administrators arrived in a flurry. Principal Walters's face drained of color as he pored over the live stream. He watched Liam's own words, recorded admissions of sabotage, play back on his phone. Security officers escorted the campus news crew into room 213, their lenses still rolling. Within minutes, the evidence was sealed, clear-cut proof of self-defense, and years of harassment finally laid bare. In the staff lounge, whispered conversations echoed off the walls. Teachers who once pretended not to notice the group chats mocking Maya now crowded around her desk, offering hushed apologies and gratitude. One veteran instructor pressed a crumpled handkerchief into her palm. "I should have defended you sooner," she whispered, eyes brimming. Down the hall, Liam's entourage melted away. Friends averted their gazes, smartphones slipping into pockets. The privileged facade crumbled as he passed under the glare of institutional accountability. The video that aired on local news showed him stumbling to the exit, his expensive jacket torn at the collar, the same collar he'd once mocked. His smirk was gone, replaced by the hollow look of a throne unseated. Within 24 hours, Westfield High's board convened an emergency session. Donations earmarked for the athletic wing were frozen pending review. Policies on teacher safety were rewritten on the spot. The hashtag #Justice for Johnson trended nationwide, fueling debates on power dynamics in schools. Parent-teacher meetings shifted tone. Parents who once bragged about college acceptances now questioned how a culture of entitlement had thrived unchecked. Back in room 213, the next morning, students trickled in with downcast eyes. The first voice came from the back row, Madeline Ortiz, captain of the debate team. "Ms. Johnson, I'm sorry. We all saw what happened." Others followed apologies, whispered, heads bowed, phones held out not to record, but to offer digital notes of support. Logan Bennett, once eager to flaunt his early college acceptance, dropped his binder at her feet, trembling. I owed you more respect." Maya allowed a small, steady smile. She gathered her markers and erased respect from the board, replacing it with responsibility. In that simple act, the lesson transcended history slides. It became a lesson in humanity. By week's end, Principal Walters announced his resignation, citing personal accountability failures. Coach Ramirez launched a voluntary self-defense workshop for faculty, with Maya leading the first session. Jordan Lee's documentary footage won a regional journalism award, shining a light on systemic bullying in elite schools. In her tiny apartment that evening, Maya removed the GI jacket, folding it carefully before placing it beside her mother's photo. The weight of victory settled over her like a warm blanket. She breathed deeply, recalling the mantra that carried her through control the controllable. Tonight she had controlled the uncontrollable, and in doing so she'd changed the rules of engagement for every teacher and student who watched. Sometimes the loudest lessons aren't taught in textbooks. They're taught in moments when justice demands action and when the hunted chooses to become the huntress. We've just witnessed how one woman's quiet strength shattered a cycle of entitlement and silenced a legacy of abuse. Maya Johnson didn't just defend herself, she reclaimed her classroom exposed corruption and forced an entire community to confront its complicity. That's the power of standing up when no one else will. If this story moved you, hit subscribe so you never miss moments when truth demands action. Smash the like button to show you believe in justice for the underdog. Share this video and tag someone who needs to see what courage really looks like. Tell me in the comments, have you ever faced a situation where you had to choose between staying silent or fighting back? I want to hear your story. Your voice could be the spark that lights someone else's fire. And if you're hungry for more real-life tales of ordinary people doing extraordinary things, check out the video right here. Together we're rewriting the rules one act of courage at a time. Class dismissed.